As a 46-year-old Masters CrossFit Games athlete, I'm here to tell you that you cannot train to be a successful competitive athlete in this sport like you're a 20-year-old, even like you're 25, or even like you're 30, and maybe 35 if you are 35, but you need to train according to your actual age in order to maximize your performance as a Masters athlete. This is something that was hard for me to learn. It took me a number of years to actually figure this out. So if you don't know my history, at 38, I started CrossFit. I had no background, no experience with CrossFit. I had been a jogger for 20 years, like literally trying to jog to just not get too fat. Drinking beer, eating pizza, that was like my main staples right there. And I ate a lot of food, a lot of ice cream, and I thought I could jog my way to fitness. Anyway, I started CrossFit, and it turns out I was pretty good at it. I happened to find something that I was really, really good at. Now, I was a gymnast when I was like in 7th and 8th, 9th grade, so I understood how to kip, honestly, and that was nice. I could kick up to a handstand, so those were a couple of advantages I had going into CrossFit, but the reality was I happened to find something that was good for me. You know, I'm 5'9", at that time I weighed 205 pounds, and I needed to just get healthy. So CrossFit was it. I jumped in 6 days a week. I was working out with class, and I got pretty good pretty quickly. Within like 8-9 months, I did a competition, local competition, and I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I got 6th place out of everyone in the competition, just trying to avoid last place. So I got 6th, and it was a really big accomplishment for me. And that lit a fire for me to become a competitive CrossFit athlete. Soon, I would turn 40 and I would be a Masters athlete. At the time, there were only 40 plus Masters athletes. There wasn't a 35-year-old age group. So now there is. Anyway, became a Masters competitor. So during the CrossFit Open and the age group qualifier when I was 40, I was 41, I was dying to make it to the CrossFit Games, and I just couldn't break through to that Games athlete. I couldn't get to that top 20. And I think one of the biggest things was the fact that I was totally overtraining. I was trying to train like a 20-year-old, like Matt Frazier, like Rich Froning, and that is not appropriate with regards to the amount of volume that a Masters athlete should do. When I was 40, I was following CompTrain, and CompTrain had this free elite version of workouts online. There were no warm-ups, there was no guidance, just here are the workouts that you do today. And I just followed them. It would take me 3 to 4 hours. I'd get a few people from the gym to join me, and we would just get through the workouts. There wasn't an intention in the workouts. We would just get through them. Sometimes it was like walking through thick mud. You know, it was just so much volume. I would be destroyed from the day before and then have another set of like 3-4 hours worth of work to do today. And I wasn't eating enough at the time as well, but generally I was way overtraining. So when it came to the Open and quarterfinals, or the age group qualifier at the time, I wasn't the fittest person, and it just didn't make sense to me. And I remember when I was 41, after I didn't make the CrossFit Game, I remember sort of sitting down in the gym, closing my eyes and saying to myself like, okay, fine, I will buy a Masters program. So I started paying for CompTrain Masters at the time, and it was begrudgingly. I was like, fine, I'll just be a regular athlete. So CompTrain Masters had similar workouts that CompTrain, the free version, the elite version, had online, but it was less volume. It was like 1 or 2 strength pieces and a Metcon, maybe a little finisher, but that was basically it. It was very simple. And I remember feeling like I'm just not doing enough. And what I found was that when I was doing the appropriate amount of volume, and I believe that was the appropriate amount of volume for me at the time, I slept better. And because I slept better, I was able to recover better and then perform better in my training. I was able to really focus on the lifting components of training and not feel like I'm just trying to get through this because I've got 4 hours of stuff to do. Instead, I had this intention. And I found that when I had less volume, I had to be more deliberate about every single thing that I did. So rather than having snatch waves that would have me do just ridiculous amounts of snatches, in this particular maybe program or particular day, I would only have 9 working snatches. So every one had to be perfect. I often think of it like golf. So I'm not a golfer, but I have golfed and I'm terrible at it. And oftentimes I'm like, I'm gonna go practice my golf swing. So I would go and buy a huge bucket of balls. So like the small bucket of balls is $5, the big bucket of balls is $7, and there's like 10 times more balls in the bigger bucket, at least 1,000 times more balls. So I'd get the big bucket of balls, get them out there, and I'd warm up my swing a couple of times, and I'd look at the set of balls that I've got to whack, and I'd use my driver a bunch, and then I'd go through all my clubs, and I'd be like, all right, I guess I just smash some balls with my driver, and I would just not really set up and prepare for every single one of those practice shots. It was more like just getting a ton of shots done. And then I found if I bought the small bucket of balls, which was not as good of a value, but I actually took my time and set up for every shot. I would aim, I try to hit that flag out there on every wedge shot. I try to hit that flag over there with every drive. That's all cute because it was terrible. I never got it towards the flag. The balls just went everywhere. But the analogy rings true. The less volume you have, the more you're going to concentrate on the specific movement that you're working on in that moment. Same thing with, the conditioning workouts, a standard workout, a WOD. You've got 3 rounds of 20 calorie ski, 15 burpee box jump overs, and 10 bar muscle ups. I'm just making something up. But you would be like, okay, so this isn't like this enormous thing. This is not even going to take me 10 minutes. I am going to plan my workout. I'm going to attack the ski erg, and then I'm going to pace myself through the burpee box jump overs. And my goal today is to be unbroken on bar muscle ups. I'm going to do that for all 3 rounds. But I would start to develop this strategy in my head. Like my volume is less, so I could concentrate more and be much more intentional about the actual work that I was doing. And it worked. By changing my programming from just getting through a ton of stuff to getting through less stuff, but with much more intention, as well as revolutionizing my nutrition, literally revolutionizing my nutrition, tracking, but eating well, eating appropriately for what a master's athlete needs, given the volume and the activity that I was doing, I was a new man. And when I went into the 2018 CrossFit Open, I did really well. And then the age group qualifier that year, I felt good. I did well. I qualified for the game, continued that trend to the games, 3rd place at the games, continued all of that going into 2019, qualified, so happy to get there, went there, and I won by a pretty large margin. I've continued that. I have since switched from CompTrain to Mayhem Masters, and I love Mayhem Masters. I really believe in it. I think it's the most well-rounded program that I could ever imagine, but it doesn't matter as much what program you follow, is that you follow it to a T and it's an appropriate amount of volume for you as a master's athlete. I still approach every workout, even though Mayhem Masters is slightly more volume than I've done historically, I'm very intentional about every single thing that I do. Yesterday, I had a total of 4 snatches off the blocks. I had preparatory snatches, I had a couple of things leading up to that, but then when it came down to it, I had 4 full snatches off the blocks, and I concentrated and focused on every single one of those to make sure that they were perfect. And I did miss one, and I redid it because I knew what I did wrong, but I made the most out of that. And then I moved on to the actual workout of the day, which had some ski erg and assault bike, and I sold my soul on that, knowing that I trust this volume, I trust this program, I'm gonna follow it to a T, and I'm gonna be very, very intentional about how I aim to get through my workouts throughout the day, not just getting it done, being intentional about every single thing that I do and making sure that I'm getting better at the movements. I'm not just doing bar muscle ups because I can do them. I'm trying to do them with an even tighter body, even more straight legs, even a tighter overall form on that. I want to look like a gymnast on my bar muscle ups. On the ski erg, I want to make sure I'm getting a full range of motion. I'm not just trying to go fast. I'm trying to make that a good range of motion. The whole idea behind this video is to remind you that you are 42, you are 45, you're 38. I'm 46, and I should be training like a 46-year-old CrossFit Games athlete. That means I'm not doing too much volume. I'm not eating too much food. I'm actually doing the exact right amount of volume and intentionally working my way through the volume, become a better athlete without overdoing it. I am paying attention to my body, and on days when my body is really wrecked, maybe I didn't get good sleep, maybe I'm really wrecked from 2 days of working out, I will make adjustments in my intensity. I'll decrease my overall effort and still be intentional about workouts. I'll still be getting better while paying attention to my body and making sure that I'm eating the right amount of food for my nutrition, my volume, my active lifestyle. Guys, be smart about your volume, act your age. And if you've enjoyed this, guys, support the channel, click the like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps spread the word so that Masters athletes know that we have support. There's an amazing Masters community out here. And if you're looking for some performance coaching or nutrition coaching, I do have some links below. I do that one-on-one. Love helping people with that in this Masters age group. Guys, semifinals are coming. Are you ready? I'm ready. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to talk about that in upcoming videos. We'll see you next time.